8:52 on a Monday morning in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm standing in the kitchen at my job, and I am surrounded. I'm standing in between two senior vice presidents, a global director, and the president of the entire company. And we are drinking coffee. Well, they are. I'm nervously taking pretend swigs from an empty coffee mug because I couldn't figure out how to work the espresso machine earlier. Apparently we drink espresso here. And so I figure, better safe than exploding European coffee machine. I mean, who even knows how to work those things, right? I'm losing it. I just started here 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks before that, I graduated from college, where surely, as student body president, an orientation leader, and a communication studies major, I had somewhere along the way learned how to, I don't know, communicate. And yet here I am, in the nicest group of people you can find, with nothing to say, just an ongoing internal monologue. Don't say anything stupid. Do not say anything stupid. They're talking about their kids and their lawns, and I am just waiting for someone to mention their latest Netflix marathon or preferred dinner cereal so that I can somehow hop in this conversation. No one does. And the group disperses, and I trudge back to my desk thinking, what just happened? Wasn't I supposed to be good at this stuff? After graduating from the University of North Carolina, Greensboro in 2011, I did something about only 50% of college graduates did. I got a full-time job. At 23, I'm a young professional and a first-time employee, which really means I just spend the majority of my day completely out of my league. My colleagues have 10 years or more life and business experience on me. Going through this process, I've become fascinated by the transition we make from college student to professional, especially in a place like Greensboro, which is so great because of the 7 diverse colleges or universities in the area located in such close proximity to a myriad of businesses. Local, corporate, global, big, small, self-owned. There's a direct connection there, from the future employees to the employed. And secondly, because if you ask any college student these days why they're in college, they may give you any number of reasons. But what it usually boils down to is, I'm here to get a job. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't. But what it always means is that we are thinking of this in an X and Y situation, college equals job. And it also means that headlines like this one that say 53% of the underemployed and unemployed are from college graduates, positively terrifying. You see, the economy is a topic better suited for someone else to talk about. I'm not that person. But what I would like to talk about is another expectation that I'm seeing a lot of lately, which is this idea that if I'm very involved and I'm very talented in college, that I would be very good in the working world. But from what I've learned, from my own experiences and from talking with others, that's not always the case. In fact, more often than not, our college successes do not directly correlate to our work successes. There's an important transition period that has to happen, but many of the times we're skimming over it because as college students, A, we're just thrilled to graduate, and B, if you throw a job on top of there, I'm not thinking about anything but getting there. And 2, or B, if you really think about it and you tell a college student, hey, you're going to need more experience before you start working this job that you just earned, they're going to think, hey, hold on. Look at my resume. I've got tons of experience. I am stocked. I'm going to be fine. Now, as someone who had a giant picture of my face hanging in my college's library, I certainly subscribed to the second ideology, which was, I crushed it in college. I'm going to be fine in the working world. And I thought that would be true, obviously, but it was not really true immediately, at least. SGA initiative. What I actually found was that I was amazed at the amount of things that I did not know going into the working world. For example, money. Because in college, I had one card that got me my food, my books, my laundry, my toiletry, and my coffee. It's even got a little picture of my face on it so that when I did lose it 2 or 3 times, someone always returned it. And now, when I get into the working world, I have a paycheck, which comes twice a month, but there are these things called bills, and they come at different times of the month, and then some of the money is taken out to go over here, and some goes over there. Some of it's in this magic pot that is apparently mine, but I can't actually touch it yet. It's confusing. And in the working world, it felt like there was some big inside joke that everyone else was in on, and I had no idea. It was like being on candid camera all day, every day. And no one ever popped out to say, candid camera, y'all. So we were just waiting for the punchline to fall. And even before I started the job, they said, Are you detail-oriented? I said, yeah, of course I'm detail-oriented. I started working. Found out that no, I was not detail-oriented. At least not in the working sense of things. I've been very detail-oriented in college, in that I could keep up with my friend's schedule and my own in my organization and write a paper from A to B. But in the working sense, I had no idea how to manage 4 projects simultaneously with 3 different budgets and 2 different timelines and 7 different teams. It was a different kind of detail-oriented. It was like I had been studying a foreign language for the past 4 years, and then I had been dropped from a helicopter into this country to use the language, and I had no idea what to do. It wasn't culture immersion, it was culture shock. Now, as a young professional, I'm in the middle of this career life cycle, and I can connect with all 3 that I'm going to talk to you about. I can have conversations with college students, and if I'm walking down the hallway, I can probably still pass as one. I can talk with business professionals about strategic objectives, and actually know what we're talking about. And I can read a tweet from a fellow young professional that says something like, "Why are pantyhose so hard?" And I'll retweet it and say, "Yeah, I know they're always ripping. What is with that?" Hashtag young professional problems. Hashtag life is hard. And so being connected to these 3 groups, I can see that we are having some conversations where we are not connecting. In fact, we're disconnected. Because usually there's assumptions and expectations from one group that the other group doesn't know that are on them, and then they're never actually living up to them, so they're very confused with the other groups. And so being a connector and being a communicator, I figured that what we needed to do is connect. Now, in light of the fact that I couldn't get all 3 groups in on a 3-way phone call and have one of them be silent while the other of them express their deepest, darkest secrets about the other, I figured that I would interview and survey them. And so I did. I talked with 70 or more people, current college students who are in undergrad and graduate school, young professionals who are in their first-time job after graduation. Do you get the reference now? I can say it again if you want. Can you get them on a 3-way phone call? Mean Girls? Okay. Now we're going. So I interviewed 70 people, current college students, young professionals, and business professionals. I wanted to see if what current college students were doing to prepare for a job aligned with what young professionals were doing to get the job, and with what business managers were expecting when they were going to offer someone a job. And so I asked them, what are the top 3 things that college students should be doing to prepare themselves for the working and business world? And so I gave them a comment box to write whatever it was that they wanted to say on this question. And they had very different answers. College students said that the top 3 things they should be doing to prepare for the working world were these words, most of which consisted of internship, network, and resume. There's a very high focus on getting our resumes right before we go into the job. Young professionals said that they should be focusing on applying, interning, and networking. And not just applying, but applying everywhere, applying to as many jobs as possible. There's a lot of focus on this group as well about dreaming and aspiring and shooting for what you want to do. Now, our business managers took a lot of liberty with that comment box. They had a lot to say about what college students should be doing to prepare themselves. And their answers were communication, skills, and work. And not just skills, but soft skills. And not just work, but hard work. They thought that college students should be learning how to work in a team, be flexible, learn how to communicate, and also learn how to put some effort in. Now, then I wanted to know if how we were presenting ourselves aligned with what we wanted to see in future employees. So I asked of the options listed here, building suspense, what were the options? Of the options listed here, what are the top 3 that you should exude when applying and interviewing for a job? Now, young professionals and business professionals had the exact same answer: willingness to learn, experience, and soft skills. There's a lot of power in the humility for them and asking to know more. College students had a completely different answer. Their top 3 were professional demeanor, how you dressed, confidence, and soft skills, which was interesting because no one said soft skills until I defined it for them. So I think they know about soft skills, but maybe just not the word. Now, this answer as a college student would have been exactly what I had said, even into my first few days of working. On my very first day of work, I was taken on a tour of the office. I was shown the offices where everyone sat in real offices, and then I was taken on the hallway to this cubicle with my name on it and a computer, which couldn't be right because in college, as a student leader, I had an office. And so, rather than taking this desk at this global high-performing company, as an opportunity, I saw an opportunity to, assert my confidence, because I've got new business slacks on, and I know what's up. And so at 21, my first day on the job, I asked for an office. It's cute, right? It's really cute. And I was given a very polite out. I think you're just set up here, your name's on, your computer's running. Sure, because instead of taking that polite out, like I should have, I said, the only reason why I didn't get a yes there was because I didn't use enough business jargon. Because I was young, and I was persistent, and I was confident, and today I was well-dressed, and I knew that when those came together, I could do anything. And so I sprinkled a little on there. I said, sure, I completely understand. But wouldn't it increase our overall productivity and our effectiveness as a team, our synergy, if I was located down at the other offices? And then I was given a very polite but stern answer. Actually here on the global headquarters floor of the entire company, the business offices are reserved for senior level management, like the president of the company. Sure, I'm just going to set up my snack drawer. I am good. It's bigger than it looks. It's an optical illusion. So these disconnects, they may be subtle, but they're present. And how do we connect them? And further, how do we get everyone on the same page? Because even the pages that I thought everyone was on were sometimes completely different. For example, I thought all business leaders would think that college students were lazy and young professionals entitled. Then there's one senior vice president I talked to who said, I want as many first-time employees as possible. I want the young professionals here who can work on social media and connect us through it and take our company forward. And then there were the young professionals, who I was certain, since we'd all just graduated, would totally fend and fuel forward the college students. But instead, when I would bring up the topic, they would say, college students, let me tell you something about college students. They wouldn't know a good opportunity if it hit them upside the head with a business card. They don't know nothing about nothing. They don't know anything about hard work. All they do is take pictures of themselves and Snapchat them. And what is Snapchat? Because in my day, we still use Instagram. And does Snapchat have filters? I don't think so. We're 23 and 26, recently graduated, talking about kids these days. So, I know, and in my day, we walked uphill both ways. we didn't take a bus. So, if these disconnects are happening, the real question is, how do we connect them? Well, I'm sure as you guessed, it's all about communication, but specifically, questions. As many questions as possible. The reason why questions are so helpful is because they can connect us to what someone might not know, but we need to make sure we're doing them in safe spaces. The time for a question is not when you are a college student applying for a job and then in the interview, and they say, hi, we'd like to offer you this job. Do you have any extra questions? You say, sure, I've got a ton. I've got a full list right here, starting with, how do you turn on the espresso machine? I just said, no. That's not the appropriate time for questions. The time for questions are places like your career services center, your mentorships, and also your internships. Each group that I talked with placed a significant amount of importance on internships. Most college students had taken at least one, if not two. Young professionals had taken 2 or 3. One person had taken 6 in their undergrad career. And business managers said that someone who took an internship was much more experienced and more likely to get the job than someone who had not taken one. The thing about internships is there was a few that said no, they had not taken one. And there's one answer in particular that really stuck out to me. They said, no, I did not take an internship because I did not utilize my resources and I was never encouraged to do so. Okay, I get that in a way. And so what I think I'd like to do is just take a moment. But if you are in a similar mindset, just do something. If we could do something together, come here, come closer, turn off the Netflix, just listen to me, college student. I strongly encourage you to take an internship. And if you have time, take 2. And if you have more time, take 3. And if you don't know why they're important, it's because paid or unpaid, internships give you something that money can't buy: experience. And if you still don't really get that, then I need you to utilize your resources. And I need you to start talking to people, like your advisors, your favorite professor, your parents, your siblings, your peers for taking one. You can even call up the HR line on a business company. And they may not really want to talk to you, but if they've already got you on the phone line, they might. It's a 50-50 shot. The thing with these questions is that they're powerful and they can connect us together. And they can also inspire us. If we look around our city and start asking questions, where could that take us? What would our downtown look like with one intern at every single store from a local college or university? What would our businesses look like with more young and first-time employees working there? What would our college students look like if they graduated, having taken a required world skills class where they learn things like budgeting and words like synergy? And if people aren't graduating and staying here in our city, then questions can be invitations too, like, were you aware of the great opportunities for you here? And if not, great, I would love to show you some and talk with you about them. They're here for you and they're here for others. Because the really good news here is that we're all on the same team, and that the success of one of these groups can actually mean the success of all of them. For example, if a business leader comes back to teach a business management real-world skills class, a student in that class gets interested in the organization and then either applies for an internship or a job. And then they get that internship or that job, now they're connected to that company. That company has a fresh perspective, and the student has an opportunity to be employed. And then that person can stay here in Greensboro, become a resident, and give back to our community as well. It's a win-win-win situation, which are actually my favorite, so it works out pretty well. In the spirit of Greensboro, I'd like to share something with you. About a year or so ago, I was going through a tough time, my quarter-life crisis. And so I called my dad for help, as I usually do, and I told him, I have so many dreams, and I'm not accomplishing any of them. I have so much to do, and I have no time to do it. I am so old, I am 22. He said, all right. What are these big dreams that you have? No one's ever asked me to list them off before. I just don't have them yet. I want to run a mile outside without stopping. It's not a great bucket list, you guys, but we all have our things. And I don't know, I want to get married and start a family. I want to become a leader in my community, in my organization, in my city. I want to write a book. I want to go on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And I know that this is crazy, but someday, Dad, I want to give a TED Talk. And he said, okay, I believe you can do all of those things. I take your dreams seriously. Do you? He said, your dreams deserve your attention and respect, so treat them as such. If you're a current college student dreaming about where you're going to go after you graduate, or if you're a young professional dreaming of ways you're going to grow and change, or if you're a business professional dreaming of new and creative ways to take your company, I implore you, your dreams deserve your attention and respect. And that goes for you too, Greensboro.